Hey, what's up guys? Eric with Pending Business Pro. In this video, we're going to talk about never-ending growth and progress. That's just kind of what I called it, but really this video is a way to think about how to grow your business and your income. And this is going to be a really valuable framework for building and developing yourself, building your business, building your systems, building your team, increasing the output of employees, which creates more value, which means you can pay them more, which means you can attract better people. This principle in this video is super valuable. I use it everywhere, and it's a really important way just to think about things. So let's get into it. So the first thing is this is kind of based in the 80-20 principle. That's Pareto's law. We're not going to get into that. If you want to know what that is, you can Google it. There's a ton of people who talk about it, but very few people, in my experience, who practice it the way that it really gets you the biggest return or the biggest results. So we're also going to apply something called elimination. Basically, we're going to identify the 20% of our work that's producing 80% of the results, and we're going to identify the part of our work that produces very little results. Okay, that's the premise. What's really valuable that I do in a week? What's not valuable that I do in a week? And how do I eliminate the stuff that's not valuable so I have that time back? And then I'm going to replace it with the most valuable stuff that I'm doing in a week. When I eliminate this and replace it with this, I'm now creating more value, which means I'm making more money in the same amount of time. All right, and we can step up that ladder forever. All right, there's always a more valuable thing I can do with my time, and there's always the least valuable thing I'm doing with my time. So what we need to be able to do is eliminate the stuff that's least valuable. And there's three ways that we can eliminate stuff that we do. One is we can automate it. All right, so for example, a really small example of automating it would be, when we finish a job, we have an automatic thank you email that goes out to a client so I don't have to email them. Or, there's certain things you can probably do accounting-wise. Or you can set up automatic email responses that forward things. Or, on and on and on. There's a lot of ways that you can automate things. You just want to look through your task list here and say, hey, how am I going to eliminate this? Can I automate it? Or the second one, which you do a lot as a business owner, is delegate. Right? We can delegate things so I can have somebody else do it. And now it's no longer on my plate. And then the third is I can just eliminate it. And there's really two ways to eliminate tasks from my schedule or work week. One is just stop doing them. There's some things where, for example, checking in on the job site. Could I just not check in on the job site or not do it as much? One of the first times I applied this was many years ago. But I looked at my schedule and I'm like, look, I spend time basically doing meetings and then following up with people the rest of the week. What's more valuable? Well, if I only could do one, I would do the meetings. So let's just see what happens if I just don't follow up with people all week. You know what happened? Nothing. We got the same exact results. I just worked way less. So you can literally eliminate things by just not doing them, or you can eliminate things by preventing them from being things that need to be done. All right, and that's super important. That's the most important thing to start with, is things that never need to be actions at all. I need to make sure never become actions at all. Otherwise, I'm just growing an inefficient business. An example of that would be, going out to meet clients every week because my project manager is having problems with them. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to train my project manager to be effective so I don't have to go out there, right? So that would be an example of, hey, how can I eliminate work from my schedule? Okay, so that's the fundamentals here, is this elimination thing, and we'll get to 80-20, and I'll show you exactly how to apply it in a second. Everything we're going to go through on this side of the board, this is the process I use for building systems and how to think through the systems I'm building, how to develop my team and help them produce more results per hour or per week, how to grow myself and my business, how to get more results myself per hour per week, and how to overall just increase output, increase value with the same amount of hours. Because when we can create more value or get more results in the same amount of time, people make more money. When people make more money, I can hire better people and keep people. And our business gets better, our business is more successful. So now we're gonna get into how do we do this ongoing. All right, so this is what we're going to look at. We're going to look at this down here. This is $15 an hour down at the bottom. We'll just call that's minimum wage, we'll say, even though it's not. $15 an hour, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $200, $300, $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. This is per hour, right? There's people who make $5,000 an hour. There's people who make more money than that, right? So there's the actions they're doing now are worth $5,000 an hour because they work for 20 hours a week and they make $100,000 a week. They make $5,000 an hour. All right. So that's what we've got over on this side. So some examples. We're going to look at a specific example for a business owner, painting contractor. So let's say you work a 40-hour work week. And let's say you make $2,000 a week or $100,000 a year. That means you work for $50 an hour. You with me on that? So you're working for $50 an hour. But if we were to look at your 40 hours in a week and say, well, this 20 of those hours doing estimates, 10 hours was checking on job sites, and then 10 hours was answering the phone and returning phone calls and, paying invoices. Well, I would say, okay, let's say those are the only three things you're doing. Are each of those worth $50 an hour? And the answer is no. You've got this, you could put dollars on it, but it's clear that the least valuable thing is the admin, right? And I know that's the least valuable because I could hire someone to do that for 15 an hour or 20 an hour. But the point is, what's the least valuable thing I'm doing? And so let's just pretend, so the numbers might change, but the principle doesn't change. So let's just say that, so this is our setup, 40 hours making $50 an hour. But 10 of those hours are $15 an hour tasks, meaning I could hire someone else to do them for $15 an hour. So that means if I did hire somebody else, right, because I can either automate it, let's say I can't automate returning phone calls, I could delegate it, right, by hiring someone else to do it, or I can eliminate it. If I can just eliminate it, that's the best thing. Because if I eliminate it, it doesn't cost me $150. I just get 10 hours back. So let's just say you've already eliminated everything. You've prevented problems, you've prevented issues, you've already eliminated stuff, so the only option is to delegate. Okay, so I hire someone for 10 hours a week, 15 an hour, that costs me $150 a week. So now I'm not making $2,000 a week anymore because I'm paying out $150. Now I'm making $1,850 a week, but now I've got 10 hours available. So I go with my 10 hours and I go and say, hey, that $100 an hour thing I do, like selling jobs, well, I'm going to just add that into my 10 hours. I'm going to do 10 hours of my $100 an hour work. So now I'm going to make an extra $1,000 a week. So now I'm making $2,850 a week. That's a 42.5% raise, and now I'm making about $70 an hour by just making that change. All right, so if we think about building a business, the first thing is, we're basically doing everything. And then I say, hey, look, when you get to this stage, you got to hire a project manager. Well, you're going to pay them some amount of money, but then you're going to do more sales. Okay, now my schedule's full doing sales. So now I'm going to hire someone to do sales, but now I've got a ton of time. I'm managing people and not working. So then I could do sales again, and then I'll hire another salesperson. Now I'm just managing people, and I'm getting up here. I'm maybe at 200 or 300 an hour now. And then it's like, now I got to start actually building leaders. My schedule is full of just managing people. So now I need to hire somebody to manage people, and I'm going to train them. And developing leaders becomes the more valuable thing, right? And that's literally the process. So how quickly you grow and build a business isn't really how long you've been in business. There's people who have been in business for 20 years and haven't really grown their business because what they do every week is the same. So you can take this in really small steps, but it's starting to identify what is the most valuable thing I do for my business per hour, not total, per hour, and what's the least valuable thing I do for my business per hour. And just start making that transition. And you don't need it, if you're like, well, I'm project manage, I manage projects and I do sales and I don't know which one's more valuable. Like, don't worry about it then. It doesn't matter. You got to delegate one of them and then the other and start moving in. You got to start to think too, what are some of the tasks I'm not even doing yet that are way more valuable, like seeing the future. Right now I'm coaching business owners, but at some point in the future, I'm just going to be managing my executive team. Like that's the most valuable thing I can do. I'm not doing any of that yet, but at some point, the most important thing is probably managing an executive team, recruiting more C-suite employees, raising financing maybe, meeting with my CFO, just getting reports from people, launching new industries or companies. There's all kinds of stuff way up here that I'm not doing yet because I'm still answering the phone, right? So this is really the process. And so if we look at, and what prompted this video is I have a Painting Business Pro member who has a project manager who's producing $500,000 in revenue per year. And, she said, I don't know how my project manager could produce any more than that. This is how. You would start by saying, okay, project manager, this is your work week. What are you spending your time doing? Okay, now we know you're doing this, and let's put times next to it. I make phone calls here and just literally track a couple weeks and then put down, what am I spending my time doing? And then I say, okay, let's start eliminating stuff. What can we start eliminating? What can we start automating? What can we start delegating so that you can have more output with your time? That's really the answer to how anyone in your organization produces more results. That's how we optimize and improve and innovate our systems. That's how we pay people more money. That's how we operate our own growth as business owners. That's how we do things at our company. That's how I teach people to do things in the Painting Business Pro training program. And that's how I would suggest you think about building your business and growing. And if you just follow this process year over year, this may not seem like a ton. It's like, well, it's going from 100,000 a year to 140,000 a year. Not a bad raise. Most people don't get raises like that in a year. And that's by doing this process one time. If you do this 1 or 2 times a year, 4 or 5 years from now, you're going to be just surprising yourself with what you're capable of, what you've accomplished, and what you now see as possible. So hope you got something out of this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey, what's up? It's Eric with Painting Business Pro. I hope you enjoyed the video that you just watched. One of the questions that I get all the time is, Eric, do you have advice for me about this or about this situation or that situation? I get asked for advice all the time, and the answer is always like, yeah, I definitely have advice for that. But the truth is, the best advice I have to offer isn't something I can send in an email. It's not something I can, answer quickly on the phone, and it's not even something I can answer in a YouTube video, because the best advice I have is how you build a truly great company. And how you build a truly great company, it takes time. There's a lot of depth, there's a lot of detail, a lot of specifics, because you've got to develop yourself to be a great business owner and a great leader, and there's no short answer to that. So how I answer that question, how I help people build great companies and become great leaders, is in the Painting Business Pro training program. So if you're interested in building a really great painting company, you can learn more about that program by clicking the link below this video. And there's a quick video all about the program, what we do, how it works. So if you're interested, click the link below the video and check it out.